Let's talk about Reno, because that's, we're not here to promote Nicolas Cage's career. This is truly one of the all-time great shows, Tom. And,
Thank you.
it premiered back in 2003 on Comedy Central,
Mm-hmm.
reuniting for the first new episodes in over a decade. And you got the entire sheriff's department back for this
We
thing.
got everybody. You know what's interesting is one fun detail is, yeah, the show started airing in 2003, but we shot the pilot, which was a failure and got passed on in 2000.
Wow.
So it's really about, it's 20 years since we started since we did the first pilot, which was actually a sketch show. You can see it. It used to be up on some websites, but in the first pilot, we play the cops, but we also play all of the perps, which was a neat idea, but it's also pretty weird. I mean, it's definitely, there's a couple holdovers, like Nisi plays TT, but yeah, it was fun to get everybody back. The only tough thing about getting everybody back is most of the cast is so hella busy.
Yeah.
Because they're so funny that they've all got shows of their own.
Exactly.
I never tell the cast ever what I'm going to say in the morning briefings, ever. Not even like a little bit. And often I don't know what it is myself. So I don't really know what I'm going to say. But I guess because you'll see in the first couple episodes, Dangle has to mention the sponsors who have sponsored the sheriff's department, who are sponsoring just our like meetings. And they're all the absolute worst, like apps and text. I think in the first episode, we're sponsored by something called Soup Gorilla, which is a website that brings you soup ingredients within just a couple of days.
Right.
Yeah.
So you came up with that on the spot, Soup Gorilla.
I made them all up on the spot, and at a certain point, the joy of that game really just became making Wendy McClendon Covey laugh really hard, because no matter what I said, she's pretty good. She's not like there's some people in the cast that'll laugh and ruin almost every take. Carlos laughs a lot. This is the other thing about you got to have the real mustache. You won't ruin any scene with the real mustache. Fake mustache, you can ruin a scene because it'll pop, it'll go squirreling on you. And then, but the other great thing about it is the real mustache also covers if you're laughing a little bit.
Right.
It can kind of turn it into a slightly more serious, like.
Was it hard to get the show sold? It sounds like it was.
It was impossible. Yeah. So the whole way it happened is we obviously did that show. It's hard to find, but we did a show called Viva Variety for a bunch of years on Comedy Central. We came out here. When that show got canceled, me and Ben and Carrie did a series of pilots, all of which failed. We did one called Hey Neighbor, which was kind of like a Little Britain. It was a sitcom, but me, Mike Black, Ben, and Carrie played a whole town with Jack Plotnick, who's on Reno a lot. And we played an entire like village of people. And it was fun, but it did not go. Ben and I did a show called The Strip, failed. We did so many shows that didn't go. And then Fox hired us to write just a straight up sketch comedy show for Saturday nights. And we were like, yeah, cool. That's great. So Ben and I went away and we wrote, 50 to 80 sketches, because writing sketches it's our favorite thing to do. It's like the way we came up. It's like kind of our life. So we wrote a ton of sketches. We were really proud of them. We cast the show, and we cast Cedric Yarbrough, Niecy Nash, who we saw doing stand-up and was one of the funniest people we'd ever seen. Carrie was already with us. We cast Carlos Alizraki.
He was a voiceover guy primarily, but
he did a lot of stuff. Yeah, he was the Taco Bell dog, but he's also a stand-up, and yeah. So we had cast this. We had this amazing cast. Wendy was not in the show yet, and we did a table read of all these sketches with this incredible cast. Everybody laughed. It seemed to be going great. And right at the end of that table read, the woman who was Gail Berman, who was the president of Fox at the time, was like, "That was really funny. I don't need a sketch show. We're not going to shoot this." And we were like, "Oh, that was kind of a bummer." Like, man, we've been working on this for like months, and we got this incredible cast, and we wrote these funny sketches, and now we're not doing it at all. But everything was already in place. We already had a staff. We already had like a crew. And we had this amazing cast. And the idea was to be a sketch comedy show on Saturday nights on Fox. Saturday nights on Fox were dominated by one television show, which is Cops. So we're like, what if we become a companion piece to that? We'll be like, it'll be serious cops and then goof around, like paired up. And so we shot the show very quickly. We felt really amazing about it. Fox was like, well, we're not sure. I think we're going to call it Viva Variety Presents. I don't know why. That was like the idea. It was going to be called Viva Variety Presents Reno 911. Yeah, it's an amazing title. One of the interesting details was there's a very long scene at the end of the original pilot where Ben Garant and I are kissing for like a really long time. And it was a hilarious scene. Dangle pulls over this like personal trainer, and it was shot from a dash cam. And you just keep seeing us get like on the dash cam closer and closer and closer and closer. And so turned it in, and we were told like by Fox, they're like, you can't have two guys kissing this long at the end of a TV show. And we were like, I think you can. Yeah, we're doing it. And they're like, well, we might not pick it up unless you change that. And we were like, snooze you lose. We're not changing it. And then that wasn't the full reason, but we did not get picked up by Fox. So it sat around forever. And then Jim Sharp, producer of The State, they're like Jim Sharp, who's the George Martin of The State, Viva Variety, a lot of stuff. He moved over to Comedy Central, and he's like, do you guys have any show that would be not super expensive, daylight exteriors, like no effects? And we're like, yeah, we already did one. We're like, can we turn in this homework project we already did for Fox? And he's like, yeah, great. So there was a weird detail, which is Fox owned the literal tape of that original pilot that we did, like the actual footage on the actual tape.
The masters, yeah.
The masters. So Comedy Central bought the show, but we had to shot for shot recreate anything we wanted to use from the Fox pilot.
Wow.
Like exactly. And then we intercut it with new footage.
And what was Comedy Central's male on male kissing policy?
More the merrier.
Isolate Night with Scott Rogowski, live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern.